Thank you for tuning in to another episode of WGC Fits. Today we are going to be looking at the new Cobra line for irons. We're going to be looking at their players releases. So we're going to be hitting the Cobra MB first. Trent, go ahead, take it away.
Thanks, AJ. First off, looks very sexy looking.
That is a beautiful, absolutely beautiful golf club. One of our staff guys has a set of those inside, and I told him I was going to steal them.
Yeah, they're, you want classic. This is...
That is so good looking.
This is certainly very classic.
Now, this is a straight 1025 carbon blade. No tech going on here. This is, you are in complete control.
This is, you get out of it what you put into it.
Yep. When was the last time you played a blade-like iron, Trent?
A blade, a true blade?
Mm-hmm.
Mizuno MP33s. So that was a day or two ago, like 16, 17 years ago. I am not good enough to hit this golf club.
I don't believe that, but I understand why you don't. We'll say that. But this is a good club. I mean, I think from a blade perspective, Cobra is often overlooked in that window.
I would agree.
And I think for the past couple of years, even going back to when they had the black ones and stuff, I think they've made one of the best looking blades out there for a while now.
It's funny because, again, every company now has a blade.
Mm-hmm.
I would say at Windmill Golf Center, that black one you're referring to, I mean, shoot, it might have been our best selling blade.
Oh, I'm sure it was. Yeah, I'm sure it was.
That's why I don't play blades right there. Although that wasn't bad.
I was going to say, from a miss perspective, that's exactly what this club's going to do when you miss it. It's just going to come up a little short. So it's all dependent on what you're looking at, you know?
This doesn't go nearly as far as that Paradigm.
No, this is a bit different, though.
Yeah, this is kind of like a paintbrush. You can just kind of do whatever you want.
Whatever you want, exactly, right? And what I was going to say is when the guys are looking at these clubs, right, when we're fitting guys for blades, it's a whole different kind of series of questions that we're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. It's, do we like the look of the club? Do we like the feel of the club? Is the shaping correct, right? All that kind of stuff. So in terms of just in general, from a feel perspective, right, compare that to kind of some of the other ones that either you've tried out or you've kind of gamed, you know, well, going back to the MP33, what's the feel like?
Feels good. It feels very, very solid.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of no frills. It's, you hit it solid, you know it. You miss it, you know that too.
Exactly.
It seems very repeatable up there. Mm-hmm. I tried to hit it a little harder, just trying to see what happens. But it seems like it's very consistent. Gonna go the distance you want it to go.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That one felt really good.
Good ball. See, I used to play a set of blades recently, and this is kind of why I like them, because it just does what you want it to do, and you know what it's going to do, right? Very predictable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say so.
It's all over it. Good numbers, it's good group. You know, for me, it's got that little chrome kind of look to it, which I personally like in a blade, you know. I don't love when companies try to make this club less than super classic, I guess, from me personally.
Right, it should just be classic.
Yeah. I think it's good. I think it's really good. I mean, for the player who wants a good looking blade and maybe wants to try to branch out a little bit in terms of companies that maybe aren't necessarily super known for their blades, I think this is a rock solid one to try and one that you definitely should try.
Completely agree.
Let's go and do a little compare now to the CB. So this is, again, Super Players Club. This one just has a little bit of a perimeter weighting kind of across the board, you know? Not much tech going in here, no tungsten or anything. Still 1025 carbon steel.
Easily can combo them, I assume.
Well, I'm switching this up. Looks, what do you think?
You can tell it looks a little bigger. I mean, it's, again, not bad. It just looks a little bit bigger than certainly the blade looked. Again, looks very classic.
Now this one, it does have that little bit of brushed kind of accents going on. I actually really like that in a CB. I think that's a good look for it. Now, we do see a lot of players combo these, right? What is the benefit that you're going to see out of that little bit of perimeter weighting, right? Explain that to kind of everybody watching to kind of get a feel for what the differences are.
I'd say the big thing is, I guess in my fittings, what I ask people is, where's your confidence lie with certain clubs? So, where do you want to break the set? Some people, it might be, I feel really ultra confident with, 6-iron, 5-iron. So maybe it's a cavity back 4-iron. Or, maybe it's someone where maybe I want blades in the 8-9 wedge because, quite honestly, those are easier to hit solid. You're not trying to hit them as far. So maybe it's, 8-9 wedge or just 9 wedge. So it really depends on where you want to see it. The big thing for me is if I'm standing over it from 170 yards or 175 yards and I got to hit it over water, how confidence inspiring is it going to be for me personally?
Yeah. Got to strike it perfect, right?
Yeah. It just depends. I wouldn't consider myself a great ball striker. I can hit the golf ball, but I wouldn't consider myself a great ball striker. So I like to use the terminology, get the most forgiving golf club you can stand to look at.
I say the exact same thing. I always tell people to buy as much forgiveness as you can stand.
Well, currently I'm hitting the blade better than hitting this thing. Maybe I had to concentrate more on the blade.
That's a real thing that I've heard people say is because you have such a small profile, you're not trying to do anything extra.
Right.
You're just focusing on making a good swing. Now, I'm a huge fan of this style of iron. This has always been my favorite style of iron. And I had mentioned when we were kind of looking at these, right? To me, this might be the best looking little cavity back iron I've ever seen. There's one company out there that I think is relatively famous for their CB, right? And I think this goes right up next to it in terms of look.
I would agree with that. I mean, it looks really good.
Beautiful.
I would say, based on how I've hit this, based on the MB, the 7, I mean, again, just consistent.
Super consistent. That's what these are going to do. These aren't going to do anything super fancy. They're not doing a ton of stuff to help other than a little bit with that perimeter weighting, but they really want to let the golfer be in control of the ball, And for some guys, that's a good thing. You're getting a little bit. That's not bad. All right, next one we're going to try is the King Tour. Now this is a bit different from last year's King Tour, right? Or I should say 2 years ago. Yeah, the Mim.
Yep.
This is a club that Ricky Fowler switched into, right? And he went from a little bladed club to this.
So again, just a little bit bigger. The face looks a little bit longer from heel to toe. I don't know that it is, but it looks a little bit longer.
It looked like it was a touch.
It's a little bit more round on the toe side area too. So where the other one looked a little bit more square, this one looks a little bit, again, nothing bad, just pointing out looks.
Just the visual differences. Now, the main difference between this from a tech standpoint and the rest is still nothing kind of super techy going on, right?
Right.
It's still 1025 carbon steel, right? So a good forged club. It's got a little bit of a TPU insert in the back, which is there to really help just have that cavity be able to be a hair larger, right? And then to give you a hair more kind of improvement on that bottom sound, right? That bottom of the golf club sound. So sound and feel plus a touch more forgiveness, right? And then the other big thing that they're doing with this one is there's an aluminum medallion essentially kind of behind that middle of that golf club to help the sweet spot and kind of help with that idea of perimeter weighting a little bit. So a little bit of tech, even though you can't see it because the club looks pretty clean down by the ball.
Yeah, because that's usually what happens, right? When the more cavity back you make an iron, sound starts changing a little bit. So, trying to get this to sound as pure as that blade.
Sound's a huge important thing for guys looking at this club. Like I said, there's a whole different line of kind of windows that we want to look at from a fitting perspective and that a player is expecting looking at these clubs versus, let's say, that Paradigm iron. These ones almost have to look and feel the part just as much as perform because that golfer is typically more discerning in those areas. And I will say, I actually do like the sound of this golf club. This golf club is sounding pretty solid. You hitting it pretty well right now?
Yeah, I would say so. As good as I can for middle of January. Not a whole lot of practice going on.
Who practices? Come on now.
Right, that's true.
We work in golf. We don't play golf.
I can see, you can feel exactly where you hit it on the face. Again, very, very consistent.
Super consistent.
You could probably mix and match these however you want to mix and match these. You could do...
I could see guys doing 3-piece combos of this very easily.
Yeah,
very easily. So. I think that the look is similar enough. I think that, importantly for me at least, when I'm looking at because I play a lot of combo sets, I think that the color transition isn't too off, right? So that's important. And when that all kind of works out well, you get a kind of total set, let's say, that works really well for a player and addresses all the needs that that player might have.
Correct.
Agree
with that.
Important things to look at. This is a very well thought out line, I would say.
I would say the lofts are probably a little stronger here.
Probably touch. I didn't look at the lofts, but I guess this is probably a touch stronger.
But also seem to hit it just a little bit higher too. So that's a little bit more tech in it.
With that center of gravity being just a touch lower, right? With that cavity being a little bit bigger, we're going to get that. If it's good enough for Ricky Fowler, right?
Right, yeah. I'd often get compared to Ricky Fowler in the same sentence, but...
First for everything.
Right.
Thank you for tuning into another episode of WGC Fits. If you have any questions regarding any of the new Cobra iron line, go ahead and let us know. Come on in and try them out yourself. We'll see you. Bye.